OTAN, Outreach and Technical Assistance Network.
My name is Kenya Bratton, and I am the program manager of the Disability and Access Resource Center located in San Diego. It's Chula Vista, California, but San Diego, California. And what I'm going to do today, I'm doing a couple of two different things because we don't want to be stuck, like Dr. Marquez said. Okay. One, give you context of our center. So that kind of helps you understand how we actually provide the services for adults with disabilities. Then I'm going to explain a little bit about our structure and how we deliver the services. Then we're going to talk, then I'm going to have some students to come in to tell you about their experiences. Then after that, we're going to go through maybe 3 or 4 specific high impact strategies that work, that don't require money. All it requires you is just to engage the student, and these are very, very effective. How do we know? We've been doing it now for 3 years, so we know that they are high impact and they deliver. Okay, so our learning intentions and impact. So our aim is to challenge the misconception that adults with disabilities cannot access technology on an equal or equitable basis as others. We are committed, and we would be our DART team and how we service our schools. We are committed to presenting effective solutions that enhance access, equity, and inclusion for adults with disabilities. These solutions are designed not only to improve their immediate quality of life, but also to positively affect future generations. These strategies that I share today can work for any continuum of adults with disabilities. But today I am highlighting invisible disabilities: dyslexia, dyscalculia, memory, attention, anxiety. So when I'm presenting, it does work for all students, but I really wanted to capture that oftentimes when people hear the word disabilities, they think of our more significant adults with disabilities. And so I've been doing the same workshop for like the last 2 years. And I'm like, I'm not capturing the audience that's really important, because this is an audience that's where the gaps in services are. If you have a more significant disability, there are a lot of agencies and resources that can connect with you and provide support. So I just want to use that as a caveat. Okay, so the Disability and Access Resource Center started in 2021. Are any of you familiar with Sweetwater Adult Education? Okay, so we have 4 different schools located in different areas of South Bay. A total of maybe about, I don't know, when it pre-pandemic was about 20,000 students came through our doors for a whole year. Now when the pandemic happened, it went down to maybe about 4,000 or 5,000. Now I think we're back up to like 9,000 to 11,000. So in 2021 was our first year. We started online with the Disability and Access Resource Center. We are a central department, which never existed since Sweetwater Adult Education has existed since 1933 or 1930. 33, it's one of them. So this is exciting for us, all right? So our team includes myself as a program manager. We have I'm a program manager, and I have 28 years experience in education, and of that 28, 22 has been with adults with disability population, from kindergarten all the way to high school. Well, 22, we're now adults. You get where I'm saying, going with this. So, but my last 4 years has specifically been with adult education. Then our counselor has been in adult education for 32 years, and she has previous experience as a counselor as well. My background is school psychology. Then we have the education specialist who's been part of special education. She's a math specialist for 17 years. And then we have an instructional assistant who has been part of special education from K through 12. And then he transitioned over for like 10 years. So we honestly have like 90 years experience, right? When you think about all of it. And we actually like what we do. And we make sure we stay up with innovative approaches without overdoing it, but also what's trending without overdoing it. And our main belief is every student that walks through our doors, every time you meet with a student, they must leave with something they can use. We don't do just conversations, we're not hanging out, and it's not because we don't want to. Adults are with us for a very limited amount of time. And so we have to make sure we have high impact services while they're there. So that's our team. Now, the question you might have is, we're never going to get 4 people to address our demographic of adults with disabilities. Every strategy that you will learn today can work if you're a team of 1 or a team of 100. Then we're going to go through common myths with adults with disabilities. We're going to have some student stories. That's going to happen here at about 11 when the student's available. We're going to talk about how do we define technology for adults with disabilities. We're going to go through the ONET and why that's highly effective for workplace, employment, exploration, and finding jobs for adults with disabilities. And I'm going to share with you the formula for ChatGPT that you can practice. I know some people are uncomfortable with it. Others believe that, the man is following them with ChatGPT. I don't think the man is concerned about you teaching people, but just if that's you, that's okay. You could use someone else's account, but I'm gonna show you some tips to use on how to really maximize ChatGPT as a learner. And the other exciting part about ChatGPT is, even though you are all brilliant teachers, see, Chat is nosy and knows everybody's academic experience and knowledge and pedagogy and geography and all of that. So all you have to do is just put in a prompt and you'll just get a hub of different ideas to add to your repertoire. And then I will take your email. I did create a booklet it's an e-booklet that you will get once I receive your email, etc., on solutions for adults with disabilities. Okay. Okay, so we first begin with an infographic. So this is part of the structure of our Disability and Access Research Center. What we learned is that when we were at an office, people would come in and have to wait. And adults don't have time to wait, not because they're impatient, it's just when you're speaking with someone, you don't know how long you will be. So because we love technology, students learn technology immediately that first day. So that's one of the myths with adults with disabilities. So they have to complete an interest form. Oh, well, the QR code really is full, but anyway. So they do it either they're with us, type in a tiny URL. We never want them to forget the information of what we provide. So this QR code downloads the infographic because they forget, because we're talking so much and so fast. Then this QR code is the interest form. So after the students complete that interest form, it goes immediately to the calendar, to the counselor. So they book an appointment immediately. So you don't have to wait for a call back. You don't have to try to figure out who's gonna return my calls. You don't have to be upset waiting. This is your structured time. And when she meets with you, she does a complete intake. So that intake includes what are your barriers to adult education, who are you, what is your goal, why are you here, what classes you need to have, what classes do you want to take, what future classes you want to take. She digs in deep. Then she triages to either myself or the adult education specialist. And so what I primarily do besides program development is also testing and accommodations. Okay, so in presentations, I do a lot of stuff, but if she's triaging it, it's usually accommodations or a student is thinking about that they want to have a learning disability testing, which we know is a gap, or it could be a student who needs educational advising. So she's our primary person. Why did we do that? Because when we were each doing it, at all of our meetings, we're talking about the same thing every meeting. Why are we still talking about the same thing this meeting, right? Inefficient meetings. Then we're talking about the same students. Then a student is confused. Oh, I just talked to X about that. Oh, I talked to B about that. So one day, I forget, I was reading a business book. It was probably a blog. I was probably reading a blog, not a book. And it just talked about streamlining. And so I said, okay, sat with the team. Are we comfortable with our own roles? We should know what's happening, but we have to be a little bit more efficient. So that's what happens in that role. So just to help with your understanding. So students receive help almost immediately. Click on that link, you get immediate help. So our overall services include disability access, education advising, workshops. We have flexible scheduling, testing accommodations, learning disability testing, growth mindset, and more. So we actually teach an academic development class, which would be similar to a personal development class in community college. This class is 2 hours a week, either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. In that 2 hours, each module is 9 weeks. And these are the modules: build confidence in learning, reading, writing, math strategies, test taking study strategies, learning strengths inventory, which is a BARC. We will review that today, and one-on-one meetings with DART staff. So, and we have open enrollment up until 2 weeks before school is out. And when the students come in on a module, our teacher also records her teachings, her modules, so students are never behind. They can go back and learn the material. In addition to that, she does not teach reading, writing, and math. We strongly believe in metacognitive strategies. How do you maximize your learning? So it's not necessarily about what am I reading, but what can you use as the how to read it and understand it and improve faster learning. It does exist, so that's kind of what we do. And then we have employment development services. So anyone who wants a resume or cover letter or practice interviewing, they come through my doors. And one of the things that I have been gifted with is like thought play. So if a student is coming in, looking for a job, they're like, oh, let me give you an example. I have a gentleman, he's a construction superintendent. He does not have a GED. He's been a superintendent for 10 years. However, the son took over the company, and the son said, we noticed you don't have your GED or high school diploma, and we want someone who's a little bit more skillful with technology. So he was released. So he's looking for a job. He is stuck on, I want a job that's a superintendent. Now, he really didn't do the superintendent jobs that you think of as a construction superintendent. So what we did was went to Indeed.com and we looked at 3 job descriptions for construction superintendent. I had him read them. Do you do this? Do you do that? So he had to, calculate, no, I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't do this. I don't do that. Okay. How can we align your skills with what you actually have? Then we look at assistant superintendent. And we're talking about the construction industry. Okay. Now, what's been happening when you're trying to get a job? I'm not getting interviews. I'm not getting any job. So I know how to do a lot of wordplay with the resume and cover letter, maintaining the one page, high impact skills. We're not going to put GED. I can get you an interview easily. I can get you an interview, but you have to kind of work the panel to get the job. And he has consistently has interview after interview, because he doesn't have the GED or high school diploma. That's why he's not getting hired. And that's what they say to him. We just need to have that piece of paper. So I teach them how they also can write their own resume and cover letter. Because we know Google has how many examples? Millions examples. But what word do you use? Do you know the tracking application system? Do you know the words that you have to use in the application? Do you know how to pull from a position you're seeking, put it in the resume, so when the tracking system looks at your resume, it picks it up and say that you're a good match? So that's not knowledge most people have. They just say, oh, just do a great resume. Well, it's a little bit more than that. So I teach them how to do that while I'm reviewing a resume and cover letter. Any questions? Okay, wanderings, okay. All right, so some common myths with adults with disabilities are they're afraid of technology and refuse to engage. Have any of you ever heard that one? Okay, what about they don't know how to navigate through digital learning? What about they don't know how to complete a digital application? Because they're still asking, I don't even know how to get online. And remember, the demographics we're talking about, dyslexia, dyscalculia, anxiety, it might be orthopedic impairment, it might be diabetes. We're talking about not the more significant disabilities. They forget any one-on-one help and can't really use technology for learning. And their needs are greater than my knowledge. What's so exciting about today, we're going to address all of these myths with some tools you can walk away with and use today. Okay, so Joel will be checking in at 11, so I'm gonna move through. Let me just give you a little bit of background. So when I submitted for this presentation, all three of the students were presenting online. But because they're so great, Sarah received a promotion and she can't be here today. And Luis started a new job and he's moving up in the ranks and it's a Saturday and he works in corrections. So he can't be here today, but I have their stories to share. So I'll go through Sarah first, but Joel will be here, so that's great. But I was so excited because I'm like, they need to hear from the students. And these are not handpicked students. I could have picked over literally 500 students and we would be here all day. It was just most recent students. And I'm like, oh, who could I ask? That's kind of like how it happened. But Sarah has a very fascinating story. This is Sarah. So I love this story. So Sarah came to us, she had high set credits as well as, okay, she was at a impasse between GED and high set and didn't know how to decide. So one semester she would do GED, change her mind, do high set. So this is before she came through the dark doors. And how we get our audience, we do a lot of presentations. I go through all of the adult schools, do presentations in the class. All of the teachers have that infographic I showed you on their Google Classroom. I've written scripts for teachers to use because they're afraid of the word disability. They're afraid of the word, you're a slower learner. I have no idea what it is. Because if you simply connect with the student and just say, I see that you're struggling in math, how can I support you? I think eventually you can get through to our services. But I don't know, maybe that's difficult too. But nonetheless, all the teachers have it in their Google Classroom. We have it QR code, the secretaries, when you first come in with the secretaries and you answer a question, do you have a disability? We even have I created a script that the secretaries have on the desk. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That must have been difficult. Well, we have a lot of support for that. If you would like to get some help and we keep it confidential, blah, blah, blah. And then that's how we get some of our students. The other thing too is, let me just emphasize this. We take anyone, diagnosed disability, not a diagnosed disability, struggling learner, returning back to school, don't know if they have a disability, just kind of curious. Anyone could walk through our doors and get services. So we have no barriers. If you just say, hey, I'm just curious, you just come on in and we talk about it. So that's the other thing too, in terms of how we deliver services. So getting back to Sarah, that was a side note, but that was important. So Sarah comes in, a lot of anxiety. Sarah says, so of course she finishes the high set. The moment she meets us, she had already been there like a year and some change. She gets through it within like a semester with us. High anxiety, she's like, I don't really want to be around people. She has 4 children, but she also has to have employment. So she starts with us, she goes through the Google calendaring with our education specialist. Her and I did the ONET, and then she learned Cornell notes and then Google Docs through our calendaring. So that's already, yeah.
What is high set? I'm sorry.
or the high school equivalency.
Okay, thank you. A different version of GED. Okay, I know what GED.
It has 5 tests instead of the 4.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm special ed, so.
oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, so like your students who are 13th graders and they don't have a lot of.
I'm continuing ed, so
Okay,
all
okay.
adults.
Like I was about to go all the way there, right? I wanna help every single student. So Google Applied Skills or ASCII, have any of you heard of that?
Of what?
Google Applied
Oh,
Skills?
yes.
Okay, or ASCII. So if you have not, we are gonna do a quick, I'm gonna show you that as a demo to teach digital literacy. And you don't even have to teach it because the lesson's already created. All the student or teacher need is a Google account, and voila. It is really that simple. You just have to just take time to see what it offers. So she went through our Google digital skills platform to learn Google Calendaring, okay? Now, what comes of that is this. So Sarah's like, I know I need to get a job. She had a whole list of jobs she would not do. So I said, let's do the ONET. Are many of you familiar with the ONET? So the ONET is a federal funded, it's not even funded, it's, so every job, about 10,000 jobs are in the database of ONET. So they have a work profile inventory you can take, then they have short little infographics that tells you about the job, short videos about the job, what's required in terms of employment. They list all of the job skills, responsibilities, and training. They even connect to California schools. More than California, actually it's more than California. Schools, if you are interested in becoming a medical assistant, you can click on a link and it'll tell you all the schools that have medical assistant. We're gonna do a demonstration today as well. It's free. Okay. So everything we're talking about today is free. So we completed the ONET. Now, the ONET, for some people, if you don't do a deep dive, you're kind of like, I don't even know how to figure this whole database out. But I love technology and doing that kind of learning. So we specifically went to the work profile inventory. So she completed the questionnaire. It's about 80 questions. Then what it does, it generates a work profile. RIASEC. Realistic, investigative, social, enterprising, conventional. Then you click on a tab and it'll list all these jobs that are aligned with your work profile. Sarah, her number 1 was mortician. So she's high anxiety. I absolutely am not gonna work with these morticians. What is that? You know, freaking out. Hey, it's just a questionnaire. You're not doing it right now. It's just a questionnaire. Let's take it down a notch, right? So, but Sarah is a walking heart. If anyone is going through a situation where there's grieving or someone has transitioned, you want to talk to Sarah. You don't want to talk to someone who's just trying to get down to business. Oh, I'm sorry about your loss. Do you want package A, B, or C? Right? But Sarah, you listen, and she doesn't absorb what she listens to. Does anyone have a friend that absorbs everything? And you're like, oh, my goodness, you're not gonna survive too much longer. I got one of those friends. I have to constantly hit ignore. But nonetheless, I'm like, Sarah, this is good for you. You don't have to be the actual mortician though, right? You could just be the clerk. You could work at the desk. You can work at the back. I mean, so just kind of consider it. And you are always stressed about getting laid off. I doubt you will ever be laid off in this industry, unless it's your personality that gets you in trouble. So about a month later, she was like, no, Miss Bratton, that's crazy. So she started looking at, it was office assistant in a dental office. Okay, I'll support you with that too. You can change your mind. You can change your mind in a 1-hour session. Whatever you choose, I'm gonna help you with. And I'm also gonna help you consider some other strengths that you may not have considered to be successful in that career. A month later, Sarah says, oh, Ms. Bratton, you're not gonna believe it. I'm doing office assistant at Glen Abbey Funeral Home. What? You actually did it? Yes, I did it. So she's there a month, and her daughter, who loves makeup, decides to go through the, I don't know the exact term, but not embalming school, the ones that do the mortician type of duties, they have some kind of apprenticeship. Her daughter starts to work there. So here we are in December, when I asked her to be here today, she emails me, well, texts me a few days ago, oh, I got promoted to funeral director. So this is a wonderful story. This is why, because we did the VARC, you learn about that, that's a learning inventory. She started her digital skills with scanning on a QR code. Then she created her own appointment for calendaring. She learned how to take notes with Cornell Notes using Google Docs. We did the ONET, which is digital. And now, that's what she does there. I'm gonna read to you something she shared. I'll paraphrase it while I look for it. But she said that because we taught her the Google platform, she was able to transfer those skills to the Microsoft platform at her job. So we tell students, you really need to learn digital skills, some kind of platform, because it's transferable. But many of our students will still say, oh, I don't have those skills, or no, I don't know how to use it. But they're not thinking because they're trained on Google platform that you can say, yes, you understand technology when you're on a job. The other thing she said was, here it is. I did send students a series of questions, but we know our students so well. Okay. She said, the DART program and the staff at MOA is our Montgomery Adult Education, have been a true blessing. Their help and dedication doesn't go unnoticed. Above all, their willingness to help others and watch them succeed. I will forever be grateful for each and every one of them. So then I asked questions such as, how has DART services improved your technology skills? And her response was, it wasn't one of my strongest assets. So we're saying just 2 years ago. But now that I have this new role at my job, I'm on the computer all day. And to be quite honest, I don't think I would have gotten the position if it wasn't for good technology skills. So having to learn Cornell Notes, log on a virtual meeting, open Google Docs or other online resources, I wouldn't be as efficient as I am now and boosted my confidence. So these are the wonderful stories that we get rewarded with, like honestly, every day. Every day is high impact. All right, Joe, so I'm gonna go through the list of the questions.
Of course.
All right, thank you. So if you could just share a little bit about your background, your name, your background, and why are you in adult education?
All right. My name is Joe Flores. I'm studying at San Isidro Adult School to finish finish my GED so I can have a better job, or at least one of the jobs that I wish to have.
Okay, and how did you come to learn about the DART Center?
Well, the professors, the teachers, telling me, and they asked me, "Do you have any disabilities?" Especially the counselor, she asked me, "Do you have any disability?" And when I said yes, they told me, "All right, we will help you with that."
And can you talk a little bit about what services you're receiving from the DART program right now?
Of course. Firstly, um, teachers are trying to have give me the environment that I need.
What do you mean by that?
For example, they know what type of that I get distracted sometimes. That I sometimes I need to take a fresh air, a walk from like they tell me, hey, do you need a walk? You feeling like not comfortable? You can take a walk.
And does that help you refocus?
Of course.
So Joel and I were in the middle of testing. He has to take a break. All right. But I'm like, this is a little bit too long for number two. So I go outside. I don't know what he's doing on his phone, but I was just like, dude, okay, Joe, because it's like like 14 minutes, right? And I'm like, Joe, you know, we're in the middle of testing, you kind of have a flow or whatever. He's like, oh, okay. But his distraction is like legitimate. Sometimes adults who have distraction, because every adult is distracted, right? But especially if they have not done any training of the mind to a specific task over some years. So many of your students are going to say they have ADHD, they self-diagnose themselves, they went through the NAMI website, they looked at Google search, looked at TikTok. So they have all of these TikTok and YouTube diagnoses. And so the first thing I ask them is, what do you do that's concentrated and structured? Do you read just 20 minutes a day, uninterrupted? A book, reading, like, do you take notes? No, no, no. So let's first see if there truly is a disability. So we do the VARK, VARK, and you will get experience with that later, to find out their learning preference before we go straight to a disability, okay? Joe, can you tell us, why is it important for your teachers, why did you decide to disclose that you had a disability?
Mainly because when I was studying in Mexico, nobody asked me. Nobody like told me, "Hey, you have a disability." If you had a disability, like they never noticed.
What would they do instead?
They would just go with the flow. You could say teachers
Okay.
would act normal, or will act like themselves.
But I don't think the word disabilities exists though in Mexico. Is that true or not true?
It it it's still like a myth, you could say.
All right.
It's
What is
considered.
important? I'm sorry.
Oh no, of course.
You were
Yeah.
saying it's still,
Sorry.
you were saying that it's still a myth in Mexico about disabilities?
You could say so because the term disability, it's like you need to seriously, you need to have a real disability, or you have to show it, or you have to have a high level disability so they can notice it.
Mhm,
But if not, they consider you normal.
mhm.
You're normal, and they do nothing about it.
So now that you say that, what about some adults in school? Like, how would a teacher know? Like, some students won't disclose their disability like you have. So what might be important for a teacher to know if the adult decided, I don't want the teacher to know I have a disability? What are some strategies a teacher can use to help a student that may be struggling?
Okay, mainly try to make an environment and ask.
But I don't want to say I have a disability. So what could the teacher maybe ask?
Like, do you need any help? Not like for disability, but like, for example, do you need a VARCA questionnaire? Maybe.
Right, that's our learning strengths inventory. Mhm. Now, in terms of technology, what are you learning regarding technology that has helped you so far?
The program Aztec, the program Reading Plus, and Learning Upgrade.
Mhm. Have you used these before, adult education?
Not before. Not before. Not before.
Was it hard to learn?
Mm, not quite.
Okay. And so is there anything you would like to share? Because we're around a group of a lot of teachers right now that will really be impactful when they leave to go back to work next week.
All right, something that can share. Well, for me, it's been easy to learn through Aztec and Reading Plus, for example. Aztec, I've been using it more for math, and Reading Plus for my language arts, and reading comprehension. I've been using them in the weekend when I'm when before I have done nothing. I have not read a book or watch videos of how to get my GED. But now learning that Aztec exists, because I didn't even know that Aztec exists. So
Mhm.
I started using it, and for me, it's like normal because I like it. It's a has been a habit for me to open Aztec, complete a complete a class or a complete an assignment for homework, for example. And for me, it's not boring.
Now, I know you're in the academic development class, is that, or do you see, are you seeing the teacher by appointment only?
No, I'm in the academic class.
Okay, can you share a little bit of that experience?
Of course. Um, I'm in the adult school, so the environment is it's pretty good for me. For example, there's not a lot of screaming inside the class. There's not a lot of talking inside the class. Mostly they're respectful. Yes, there's gonna be the person that one of the million that as well. We could say it has a disability probably. Well, that's what my opinion, because they as well they talk in class, they do stuff that for me is distracting, but sometimes it's just me and one or two classmates or just me.
What technology are you learning?
Technology, firstly, mainly I'm learning how to use my laptop. I'm learning how to log into Aztec. I learned how to log into Reading Plus and how to log into Learning Upgrade.
Excellent.
And as well, I learned how to share my homework or my assignments that the teachers tell me through Google Docs and Google Meet, the Google Classroom.
Yes, the math program is called Aztec, Aztec. That's what we use with Sweetwater Adult Education for the GED platform. Joel, you're gonna you can stay for the rest of the workshop, but I don't know if someone has a question. Do you mind taking one or two questions?
Of course, I'm here for any doubts, any questions. I'm here for it.
Thank you. Yes, we have one.
Joel, you are very respectful and your presence on the Zoom is amazing. I am great. You've done well in your schooling and all your teachers. You're excellent. You're like a prize student. I appreciate you being so respectful. Very
Thank you,
good.
thank you.
Yes. And we see that every day. We were in a class, we were in the middle of testing, and a student comes in, who speaks Spanish, because I've been doing Google Translate, and I'm gonna share that experience too. I cannot believe how productive I am with Google Translate. I just think I'm great. It's kind of amazing. But anyway, and I was taking out my phone to start the Google Translate. And Joel says, "Oh, no worry, Miss Bratton. Let me help you. Let me help the student." And he just helped the student, figured it out. And I was just like, man, winning. This guy is winning. So Joel, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence.
Thank you.
Is
As
there?
well, I'm glad to be as well in your meeting. Because not in like a funny wise, but like I see there's a lot of adults my age, younger and older, that need help, especially from the dark program. And yes, I feel like they need help. They feel that they don't, but they need help. I see it in my classmates. There's people that I see or I think that they don't know that they have a disability. And but when they go to they go to the dark program teachers, they help them. I see it.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. Was there a question on Zoom, a chat, or?
No, just
No.
thank yous.
Thank you, Joel. You're welcome to stay, and you can also leave, whichever one you choose.
All right.
All right.
I might go out. So thank you for having me.
Bye.
If there's any questions, I'm glad to be here with you guys.
And even our most challenging students that walk through our doors, like we currently have one young lady, she has a lot happening like every day. And, so she typically gets, if she's speaking to any adult or student, she's in the culinary pathway, is going to be an argument. And so she people shops. So who will listen to me so I can tell you this long story? I'm not saying trauma's not real. I'm not saying drama's not real. But look, girl, we got 36 weeks, 18 weeks, 36 weeks to get you to where you need to be. So I met with her, and while we're in the moment, she's just talking about everything under the sun and changing the world and blah, 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 et cetera. And I say to her, let's just take a moment. Let's just chill. So when you're speaking with people, are there any moments where you just listen? And how can we use our physiology to do more listening? And how do we know that someone's there to not help us or to help us to support? I mean, we just had this great conversation, like I just need you to settle down, and anytime you need help, come through our doors. Sometimes what happens is students need help, and because they're adults, they'll just start asking a lot of people, then they get confused and frustrated, then we don't hear from them. And we always say to them, we tell you to come through our doors, like, because we have so many people on our team that understand adult education, understand all the programs, understand disabilities, understand community connections. Teachers don't always have all that knowledge at one time. So if you decide to shop, you could possibly get confused and rerouted. So now that we have her back on track, she's settled down, she hasn't been in a school environment for decades, so we can't just go off on people. But that's just how I am. No, but it's not how you're gonna be here. How about that? People are here to help you, support you, but we're not gonna be cussing out everyone that you engage with. So this is what the education classroom environment looks like, that I go through the essential skills. We're all familiar with this workplace essential skills: communication, listening. Yeah, so, okay. I know you know these skills, and we have to practice them here. So sometimes when people have a very colorful personality, other folks work around that colorful personality, but their personality can be detrimental to themselves. So I was not trying to be the one to kind of put her on notice, but I kind of had to let her know that type of colorfulness has to be shifted in a more productive manner. All right, so let's talk about Luis. Thank you all for supporting Joel and Sarah. And here's Luis. So Luis we have a trolley system.
One of the biggest compliments I think he said to you.
Pardon?
One of the biggest compliments he said.
Yeah.
And that I like it.
Yes.
That's something that it's connected and makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yes.
That's a really compliment to the program.
Now I tell you, I get rewarded every day. When I worked in K through 12, I was drained, discombobulated. I didn't know why I was in education. We would take our breaks, and the whole break, I'm just trying to recalibrate, rejuvenate. It was just terrible for the spirit. But when I came to adult ed, every day I'm fed. Boom, 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 fed. Anyway, so here's Luis. Luis was a security officer on the trolley. Woke up one day, I want to be a sheriff. Went to look at the sheriff application, says you must have a GED or a high school diploma. So he started adult ed. We did a presentation, that's how he learned about us. He completed the interest form, had no technology skills besides the ticket thing. Where's your pass? Don't have it, you're getting a ticket. Besides that, right? So he needed testing. Now I want to be clear. There's two of us on the team that are credentialed and licensed to do learning disability testing. It is absolutely not part of our job description. But I tell you, we get compelled. Oh my gosh, I cannot leave this adult hanging. So what I did was I adopted the training through community college and universities. I looked at all the requirements for Harvard, then I looked at Cal State University. I created all of like a report, because this report has to follow them. And so what's the minimum we can do and some maximum benefit as well. So in that report, I include the learning styles. I also include the diagnosis, and I also include their career profile, workforce development profile, of course, the testing as well. So, so that's how we started to do the testing. But when someone comes in and want testing just because it's a good idea, we typically say no. Well, we don't say no. We reroute them in a different direction. But if a student is there for more than a semester, I kind of will do it, because it only honestly takes me 4 appointments, but it's not part of the job description. And I'm not saying that to toot our horns, I'm just letting you know, it's not like we have someone who was hired specifically for that purpose. So, first time, he knew that he had some kind of disability, could never get it figured out, try to get private testing, which is like $3,000, so that wasn't gonna happen. So we did the testing, he has a diagnosis in memory. This is 2 years ago. Last year? Yeah, 2 years. So he finished the GED. His claim to fame for digital highlights is the BARC, docs, and video conference appointments and email. So what we did was, after that first year, he completed each section of the testing, passed the GED, he started at Southwestern Community College. He was still applying to become a sheriff, but he couldn't get through the test. And the sheriff's department told him that you can't use accommodations. And I'm like, dude, like, we're not gonna try to do this lawsuit. What do you wanna do, right? You know, we could restructure how we teach you some of the strategies, since you have experience with the test, because he had failed the first one the first time. So about, what do you say, like, he did present as a guest speaker at our graduation. And he did disclose he had a disability at the graduation. And 3 weeks ago, we had a student walk in the doors and said, that man that spoke said he had a disability, and that's why I'm here. So it was just incredible. So what happens is, he gets a call from his uncle in Wisconsin. His uncle said, it's a small rural town. So we know how that, well, I don't want to offend anyone from a rural town, but it's a small rural town, and they were hiring for a sheriff, correctional sheriff. He got the job. He's been there 3 months now. So not only did he achieve the GED, also went from security officer to a sheriff. He goes through the academy. He'll be back in San Diego in July, he said, to start the sheriff academy in San Diego. So in a short period of time, and I know, I'm not saying that humans can't propel themselves, but it's like what Dr. Marquez said today in the keynote. You almost have to be the intrinsic motivation for the adult to get started. Like, they have to know that you're there to be their cheerleader, and eventually they carry on. We all need encouragement, honestly, every day. If I don't encourage myself today, I'm probably never going to hear it. So you guys get where I'm going, right? So how is technology, video conference appointments, and email? All right, so many of our students may not have done video conferencing before. We won't let them get out of counseling appointment. So do you want me to call you? Do you want me to text you? Do you need a smoke fire, Morse code? You're not getting out of this appointment. And so what happens is, okay, if you don't want a video conference, then you stay on the phone and I video conference, or you video conference me and I stay on the phone. So that's how we actually use technology to get something done fast, that's meaningful. That's what I mean. Anytime they meet with us, something is happening. Then what happens, like I have this student now who has a little bit more, he has an intellectual disability, although he's high functioning. And at the end of every meeting, he goes, can you send me a summary of what we talked about so I can send to my parents? Absolutely not. But you could let me help you create an email, and then you write what we talked about. I'm not gonna be able to write, Ms. Bratton. You could do speech to text, and I'll help you with the capitalization and whatnot. And then you can send it to your parents. So they learn in that moment. Plus, I'm not gonna remember anyway, right? But still, that's important, because you might have to use that on your job, because you have an intellectual disability. So you may have to say to your supervisor, you know, I like to do a summary, read it back, and then it gets corrected in that moment, and that's how he uses technology through text and email. Many of you who may go through the GED platform, is sometimes very complicated. Has any of you done accommodations on the GED platform? Okay, it's really complicated and frustrating, because if you hit the wrong button, now you gotta call the people, you're on hold for an hour, that can turn into 2 hours, the next day you gotta call the tech, you get my drift, right? And literally, I'll be on the phone, what does the upper right corner say that's a teal colored line? What does the lower left corner say? So I won't remember your password. Every time they do a password, get out your phone. Go to GE, create a contact, GED ID. Put in your GED number. Under notes, put in your password, but not all of it. Hit save. Now I'm just gonna do a screenshot. No, we're not gonna be sitting here doing this all day in my meeting, right? So those are little tips that are very important. So this is what we learned about how to facilitate digital literacy. The instructor needs to learn and practice it. You must prepare the materials in advance. Students or try to get out of it. Oh, no, I'll just wait to another appointment. Oh, no, I'll come see you in person. And 3 weeks go by. And I'll go, no, you're gonna have to call me and we're gonna work through it together with your mobile phone or your iPad, etc. Establish a routine and structure. Model relevant skills and record instruction. If they come into my office and they have no technology skills, I take out the laptop. I'm sitting there on my laptop and I have my other screen and they're learning in the moment. You're not gonna get out of it. I don't know how to turn it on. We'll learn. So that's what happens. No one can get out of technology. So how do we define technology? Yes.
I have a question about recording instruction. Where do you put the recordings, or how do your students access those recordings?
On the Google Classroom.
Ah.
We use a Google Classroom platform, and she just uploads it. So this is how we define technology. Talked a little bit about it today. Talk or text on the phone. Actually, people still call on the phone. So we call them and we're talking through instruction on the phone. Oh, do you remember your BARC profile? Yes, Miss Bratton. What is it? It's on my screen. I'm going through screenshots. Remember that you created a contact for your learning preference inventory? Oh, yeah. Then they go to V. Okay, tell me what V is. So we're even talking on the phone if needed. We cannot get out of our appointments. And then we text. What's the summary of what we did today? Or I'm texting them, these are your next steps. Can you read back the text to me? So we still use phone communication. How do we use virtual communication? Google Meet, Zoom, Teams, or FaceTime. This is our primary, not that we initiate it, we find a way to make sure they can connect with us and use technology. We do have students that will call us on the phone because they've never set up a Google Meet or a Zoom before, and we walk them through. Then they're like thinking about, oh, I could call my auntie across the state, or I could call my cousin down the street. Can we stay focused, please? Because this is like, whoa, I didn't know my phone did that. So we did, I went to YouTube University to really understand Apple platform, because I have an Android. So YouTube University is great for that. So then that way, when you're communicating with the student, you know how to help them navigate. We also define technology with laptops and tablets. So there are the free tablet programs. We do have a partnership in one of those programs. So we find that the student does not have a laptop or tablet, we will call them, and within a week they get a tablet. And the tablets are like a 9x12 actually. And we teach the student how to navigate through that tablet, which they can also do video conferencing and appointments. A quick thing about our flexibility. In the actual classroom, the teacher has 3 different levels. You could come to class for the instruction, or you set up individual appointments. It's like consultation. So if a student says, oh, I want to learn about Cornell notes, you schedule your appointment, then you meet with that teacher each week at your appointment time. Our appointment times begin from 8 a.m. and the last appointment is 7 p.m. So that's how flexible we are. And so students can either come in person or do individual appointment times. Now, when it comes to the individual appointment time, we say you can only do that for a semester. Because you have to get to independence. Because other people actually kind of want to have our services and support too. And we know that students won't be there for a long, long time anyway in adult education, so it does kind of work.
So when you say they're making appointments with you, is that the 4 staff, your 4 staff, or are you talking about other instructors?
Oh, it's the 4 staff.
Okay, gotcha.
But if they're doing anything related to academic learning, that's our education specialist. So we have 4 Google, the scheduling, like Calendly, where you can just make the appointment in a moment. We all have that one on our name or email or QR code with a brief description of what each person does. So students always have access to make an appointment immediately.
Who are some of your partners for the laptops and tablets?
It's called, the name of the, it's called South Bay Community, that's not it. South Bay Community Services. That's not it. I'll find out. Audrey's here and I'll ask her.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's the free government tablet program.
Right. All agencies should have
Yeah.
it. Community college has it.
But I'll tell you this one and then you can call them and they'll tell you the one that's up here. Yeah. We also actually do in person. So we consider in-person technology too. Because if I'm sitting there with the laptop or your phone, we're using technology even in that moment. If a student doesn't know how to complete one of the applied digital skill lessons, we're right there in the moment learning it. When they're doing Cornell notes, sometimes I'll say, pull up a video that you like. Because sometimes I do the academic instruction as well, maybe only like 15% of the time. Pull up a video. Let's take notes on the video through Cornell notes. So we still do in-person support. The only thing most students can't do in person is drop by and say, I need help right now because I have a disability. That's rare that happens because we're just always full. But we do get back to them within 48 hours. Now here's some low assistive technology that we use. Magnifiers, pencil grips, this is technology as well, everyone. Cornell paper, they now actually make their own kind of paper. Audiobooks, we have Bookshare. We do screen or person reader, furniture, amplification, and hard copy books. Even with furniture, we have a few students that are kind of obese, and so the chairs that we have are not fitting. So we had to make sure he was at a table by himself. He wasn't trying to be rude. He was just like, I just kind of have to be at a table by myself, and I need a certain chair. So we got one of the chairs that where you can stand if needed or sit if needed. You know, so we do help with all type of technology that's not just power-based. Now, adults with, we're gonna get into some other strategies. The Google Applied Digital Skills Platform. It's a video-based curriculum. If you have a Gmail account, you can access it. Short lessons, beneficial for adults with disabilities, struggling learners, or no experience. Even if you kind of have high technical skills, you can get through this. I'm gonna walk you through a quick demonstration here. The lessons are like this. The lesson may be 90 minutes, but each video is 1 to 4 minutes. So they're even catered to someone who may have attentional difficulties. And in that 1 to 4 minutes, you are actually doing some type of activity related to the topic at hand. So I'll pull this up, for example. Okay, so it's applied digital skills. Oh, I needed to the screen remove with me.
The screen line.
Because I'm clicking on different tabs. Okay, now I'll just get to the website and I'll show you all right quick. I don't know where to click where it actually shares with you, but I want you to see I'll just put the.
You can put the small one.
So this is my dashboard. When you sign up for your own account, you sign up as a teacher. So I have like these different classes. And, so then we're gonna go here to browse the curriculum. The curriculum we use for our students is Google Workspace. Sorry.
That's Google Workspace docs.
Well, I want to show you this screen, the folder. Because they have the lessons inside the folder. Oh my goodness, I need this screen to move with me, so I don't have to keep stopping and starting again.
We can see where you are right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There we go, all right. So if I go to browse curriculum,
Yeah.
and in this box up here, so there's over like 250 lessons. So, for example, I want to teach, and as you can see here, you have adult learners as an option. But just to make something kind of quick, I say, oh, I want to teach them the Google platform. So you have it, here's Docs, part 1. There's Google Drive, learn to organize. There's part 2, Google Docs, how to use digital skills for everyday tasks, how to use slides, how to use Google Get a Job, slides part 2, part 3. These are lessons. So when I click on this lesson, you'll see this here. This is using Google Sheets. You can use Google Sheets to make calendaring as well. So when a student starts, so we assign these different lessons. And then let's say you start the lesson, and as you can see, it shows you what the end result would be. And this video is 4 minutes and 24 seconds. So if they were meeting with us, some students don't even have a Google, they may have a Google email, but may not know how to navigate through the email. So we'll say, okay, we'll assign them the Google Workspace Gmail account. Here's activities and teaching materials. That's where the lessons are. These are the videos, and it tells you what they're gonna learn in each of the videos. How to compose an email, personalize your settings. So these are some features that some people with Google Gmail don't even know, right? How to do email forwarding, use chat and video, manage your Gmail inbox. So we'll sign it, and we might assign it to text. It might be through your email. We'll say, we want you to complete 1 through 3. That might be 18 minutes. Then we'll follow up that week and say, hey, have you completed 1 through 3? Yes. Okay, now we want you to complete 4 through 6. Then by that time, they're scheduling their individual appointment with us. And so that's how they learn the digital skills. And that is from students who have some more severe disabilities to less severe disabilities. So that's Google Workspace. I'm sorry.
Back to your tablet program.
Yes.
Deborah said it's called Outreach
Oh.
Program Services of America. Does that sound right?
Yes. Deborah is our counselor that knows everything at all times. Oh man, it's just amazing to work with highly efficient and impactful people. But let me, my outside thoughts are happening. But she is just like amazing to work with, and she really knows the culture and history of adult education, so it helps us a lot. I'm going to get back to my slide deck.
Okay.
Did you all get that name?
With outreach program.
Of America.
Rebecca said, when possible, can we see the low assistive tech slide again, please?
Yes. Towards the end. Yes, I will.
Okay.
And we can share all of these to the Google Classroom also.
You sure can. It's Google's friend. They're like BFFs.
I'm looking at this and I do have students with, I teach adults I mean, that is pretty, to me, high functioning. And also, I do like they applied Google, I like that concept. It's very detailed. And I would have to put headphones, also attention, because I have so many who are so distracted. So I see that. I have like 17 to 25 students. And that is, I mean, it's a lot. I would have to do it in groups, and like
Yes.
you're saying, all these different, we modify everything we teach to them. So I like that. I have a few who can actually read. So also, that's a lot of skills to get to that. And this, like you're saying, Gmail, to get on those accounts, there's a lot of steps to even get to that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna disagree.
Okay, Yeah.
Because we have students who have significant intellectual disabilities and are kind of distracted a lot. And they get through this.
right,
Um,
but because you're working one-to-one most of the time.
Right, well, yeah,
So yes, you have to modify, I believe, that's what I've done. And yes, you can, like you said, getting a Gmail account, knowing where it is, where's the information that they're putting in. That's a lot, you can do it, it is achievable,
yeah.
but you have to look at it realistically.
Yeah, I am looking at it realistically. So I'm still kind of I'm saying your experience is true. But we've had classes where we have the students there, and it's not just one, it might be like 10, 15, whoever comes at that time. And we go through step by step. And it's like, we're establishing a Gmail account. What we do is we put the video up.
Right.
So we put the video up, they're doing a Gmail account, we just kind of walk around. Does it take longer? Yes. But that one-time investment, 1 or 2 time investment is significant because other students pick it up, then they'll do peer teaching.
Right, and
So-
that's the blessing of that,
Yeah.
right? Seeing that she's not getting it, but I can help her.
Yes.
That's the best. I agree, yeah, absolutely.
But just maybe kind of browse through the curriculum to see
No,
what could
I've
be high
seen it. I've
impact.
checked it. I
Oh,
think
you
there's-
use it? Okay.
Well, I've checked it, I have to go back a bit, but it's good, yeah, I like it, because it's already there.
Yeah. Now, and she is right with some of the lessons. You may just have to modify it to a certain level, and then sometimes you don't. So you just want to browse the lessons. But it is, like I said, once again, it's free and available to you beyond just Google Workspace. I just use that as an example. But there's other things that you can use in there that would be helpful to students.
And just for me.
Yes, between Google Applied Skills, YouTube University, I learned a lot. Like, it increased my digital skills significantly. All right, adults with disabilities can use technology for executive functioning. Now, once again, these are students who really truly have an impairment in executive functioning, but I want to be careful to say too, because if you have difficulty with one of these skills does not mean you have an impairment in executive functioning. You probably just need to learn how to do that skill. So organization, time management, note-taking, annotate text, email, and memory strategies. So one of the things that we do sometimes, like with our CTE, Career Technical Education Pathway, we have medical assistant, CNA, and medical administrative assistant, and medical terminology. Those students benefit the most with the Cornell notes. We teach them how to highlight it, how to create a Cornell note, how to use it for digital means, how to use it on a slide deck, Google slide deck, because they'll be at an office or something and they will have to eventually study. So while you're waiting in the waiting room, you go to your slide deck and study how to use digital note cards. So these are executive function skills that they learn through our services that are highly impactful too for their experiences as an adult. Then we use the ONET. ONET is what we consider our workplace digital technology. For those of you not familiar, you can go to ONET online right now, if you have access to a computer, and you can see the wealth of material that is there. The reason why we use it is because it's evidence-based and research-based. And it helps easily to create a lot of resumes and cover letters because the language is already there. So back in the days when we did resumes and cover letters, you had to be creative with your own language. Now, you don't want to do that necessarily because of the applicant tracking system. So you kind of want to align your skills with the applicant tracking system. They complete a questionnaire. It's like 80 questions. They can't move, you can't skip questions. Then what generates is their work profile. And then they can click on these links that describes what that work profile looks like. So here, we just highlighted social. You choose the top 3, the bolded numbers are their top strengths. So they click on social. Let's say the student said, I want to look at jobs that are closely related to my social style. This is what I love about ONET. Let's say a student says, you know what? I'm not gonna go to college. So they don't need high job preparation. But, I'm just gonna do a high school diploma, not just. I'm gonna stop at a high school diploma and look for a job in that industry. What's really cool about ONET, when they click on this link, it'll show all of the jobs within the high school range. Then when they look at the salary, you should see students, and we're saying students from 18 all the way up to 80, they change their mind. They're like, I think I need to get more schooling. So this tells you education and experience, and it gives you some examples of some of the careers, which students really take to this. Then this is just an example of some of the jobs, but usually this list has about, the list has about maybe, I'm gonna say, they'll print out their top like 50 jobs that are most aligned with their work profile. I actually do know technology. I just don't know what the heck is happening here. Probably because I'm just trying to rush.
Did you wanna go back? There you go.
I know, it's just, I didn't want to do all that extra, but anyway, so as you can see, it lists the jobs, they'll click on this job, and then it'll tell them all of the skills required for that particular job. It might have a video, and then it'll have synonymous jobs. So maybe you won't be an adhesive bonding machine operator, but it might say something else, like an assistant or working in the print industry. So that's why we get a lot of high impact with ONET, because even if it's not that exact job title, it might be something similar. So when I'm working with a student, I'll say, let's put in an adhesive bonding operator in Indeed.com. So then they can see how many jobs come up and what areas the job may be located. So that's a benefit for workplace employment. So adults with disabilities needs are greater than my knowledge. We know this is not a myth, it's kind of like a reality. And if you don't work with adults with disabilities or young people with disabilities, sometimes you're just not quite sure. There's a solution for that. I call it ChatGPT. Now there's other AI that is useful, like Magic School AI, Bard, there's a lot. But Chat started it, so that's the one that I learned in depth and breadth. But I use it for everything, well, mostly everything. So for those who are not experienced, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence technology. It is text-based. It's a natural language understanding in real time. It can support student learning. The difference between ChatGPT and Google is a one-way conversation, where Chat is an interactive conversation. I'm going to show you some examples today. This is a formula that most people don't know about Chat, and that's probably why they decide they're not going to use it. I know that's not you. However, here's a formula. Chat can be one of these 4 things. It can be many things, but this is basic formula for Chat. It could be an educational tutor, explain it to me. It could be a mentor, show me the way. It could be a thought partner, trading ideas. And it could be a teacher, teach it to me. Because you know what? That one friend you have, like your husband or wife, that you keep talking about the idea, they're over it. So now you can talk to Chat, right? Okay. So one example, so here's an educational tutor. Because students need an extension of your learning once they leave. Here's a formula, RACEF, RACEF. When you do a writing prompt for chat, talk about the role. When you do, I am a teacher. Who's the audience? I work with ESL. Context of situation. They're learning about idioms. Show me. Give me an example of the idiom for an ESL learner. Format. Put it in bullets in the description or create a lesson plan. If you know the RACEF model, you're going to get far. Role, action, context, example, format. Those are the 5 secret tips. But what does that look like? Well, I'm an ESL teacher teaching idioms to a student, a newcomer who speaks Spanish. I don't know much about Spanish if idioms exist, but let's say I'm an ESL teacher, that's my role. I'm sorry, let me back up. This is a prompt I'm writing into Chat GPT. I'm sorry about that. So you do have to have a Chat GPT account to benefit from it. You do not have to put RACEF. This is only here for examples. I'm an ESL teacher. Write a paragraph to explain idioms. Students are ages 18 and speak several languages. The language to use is Spanish or Russian or Armenian. Use the popular idiom, beat around the bush. Write the idiom at the top. So you'll have it top with a heading. Explain the idiom in English to help the student understand for their native language Spanish. Give an example to bridge comprehension in English. Explain it like a 3rd grader. Use professional tone, maximum 350 characters. And I'll go, I'll show you. After I do the other 2 examples. This is for a visual learner. When we give the BARC tells them their learning preference. So this is a visual learner. So a visual learner, yes.
Sorry, they asked again what RACEF stands for. The slide went by fast for them.
Okay. If they put their email in there, I can send them the Google slide deck. Role, action, context, example, and format. So let's say I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual learner. I took the VARK learning questionnaire. The reason why we identify the questionnaire, because there's so many of them.
And what's the VARK?
Visual, oral, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. So when we first meet with students, I'm sorry, I didn't put that on this presentation because I have students coming in. I apologize for that. But we're trying to learn about the student immediately to get them connected to their learning. So we do the BARC questionnaire. It's 16 questions. It is free. It's 16 questions, and they answer the questions, and then they'll generate, this is your learning profile with 4 different scores. So then we take those scores, and when you complete the questionnaire, it gives you a list of strategies connected to that learning preference. So you don't have to do any thinking. Love that. Because you're busy planning your vacation. You don't have time to keep thinking through everything, right? So what happens is, so they took the VARC. I'm a visual learner. I took the VARC learning questionnaire. I need to learn about the slope in algebra for the GED. Because you did do a good job teaching it. And they did know it in a moment. Then they got home and was like, I can't remember. I attend an adult education school. Because sometimes if you don't identify, chat will teach it as if you were middle school or high school. Give me 3 visual learning strategies to use to help me understand the slope. Right? It's giving you the strategies related to your learning preference. Then write an example for each strategy with an explanation, no more than 5 sentences. Because chat talks a lot. Keeps running their mouth. Hey, calm down. So you tell them, write in 5 sentences. Then you have your example. So that's a student teaching themselves, enriching themselves from your instruction for better understanding. Because I know you have students, somehow they still can't get it. Like, we've done this 4,266 times. right? So, and you keep coming up with examples. You can even put in there, like, let's say the student had a baseball interest. Explain the slope using a baseball example. Now, this is a teacher who wants to try universal design learning strategies. Now, let me be clear. I am so impressed with adult education. I think you all use all UDL and accommodations, just maybe just don't label it. So when I have students that come from 7th to 12th grade, and they're like, I need accommodations, I'm like, whatever you have in the IEP is gonna be simplistic compared to what the adult education teachers do. You all do a lot, all the time, to make sure the student is learning. However, this teacher wanted to be very specific because part of her evaluation was UDL strategies. So I teach GED math. The students are ages 18 in adult schools. Remember the A, audience? C, there's 3 ideas for UDL strategies for algebra using the slope, universal design learning strategies. Give one example for each strategy to demonstrate to students. So this is her at home learning, try and figure it out. Write 2-sentence description for each UDL strategy and create me a lesson plan for each of the UDL strategies. And it creates an entire lesson plan. You could say, create me a lesson plan for 5 lessons. Create a lesson plan that will only take 15 minutes. Create a lesson plan that's one-on-one. You get that specific. I'm gonna walk you through, we have like 6 minutes. I'm gonna walk you through one of these examples. Do all of you use chat or no one use chat or some of you?
I use chat.
Okay. All right, so let's put one in, okay.
I haven't used it like that. I like how you were so specific.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's even better.
I'm gonna use this example. Since the prompt's already there.
How did you come up with that?
I did a lot of YouTube University.
Oh, that's what they said?
No.
Oh, you just made it up?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I just learned by mistake. I mean, it was just like, okay, that's not working. I'll put this in. That's awesome though. Are you gonna market that? You're just saying.
Not.
I know, it's good. I mean, it's all great.
So chat is, oh, you don't see this. Share screen.
All right.
There it is. See, my cursor is off. My cursor is off. Let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. So chat's thinking about my input. Normally it doesn't take that long.
I was gonna say, if that's long.
Yeah. Let me refresh. Okay. Ooh. So chat loves to like give an explanation about what you asked, but they're paraphrasing, right? Don't we teach paraphrasing?
Mhm.
That's the one strategy, multiple means of representation, that is a legitimate strategy. It tells you the minutes, it's creating the lesson plan for the minutes. It's like still thinking. There we go. So then what happens is you can just copy it into a Google Doc or Word doc, and then you can just modify it for your class. Sometimes what happens with chat, is that, but you can see how it's happening. Can you imagine the efficiency as a teacher? You're trying to do all this brainstorming with a friend, and it's like, oh my goodness, but now you can just say, let me just put that in chat right quick. So I'm gonna give one last example. I do hope that, I'm sorry we couldn't do more chat, and I could just take questions from the audience, so you can actually kind of see how it works, and how you continue to deconstruct the question more and more and more. So before you do the evaluation, I want you to complete a Google form, so I can send you the e-booklet, and then I also want you to do the evaluation. But here's the last example of why this is so fantastic, and it preserves your relationship if you have children, nieces, and nephews. So my daughter had to do a science project back in August. And so I was immediately stressed. We gotta do a science project for the science fair. Oh my goodness. I already know I'm gonna be stressed out because I want to have a relationship with my daughter. She's 13. So, all right, baby, how are we gonna do it? Oh, I'm gonna do, I don't know, measuring the absorbency of paper towels. Well, I think Bounty, the quicker picker upper already has done that. We gotta get a little bit deeper here, right? So I already knew we was on the wrong path. So she did do the bark, not that day. So I was like, honey, put it into chat. I have to do an 8th grade science project. My learning style is kinesthetic. I don't want to spend a lot of time because my mom's gonna get upset. I only have literally, this is what we put. I have my budget is $200 and I love makeup. List 5 different possible projects that I can do that might be interesting to the judges. Boom, chat goes, does its thing. And so chat came up with many, actually excellent ideas. So we pieced together some of those ideas, and she did do her science project on the amount of pigmentation in eyeshadow using mixed liquid, water, or grapeseed oil. This is for people, if you know makeup, you're like, this is important. I need my eyeshadow to stay. Don't be running, don't be blending, don't be doing all, I need it to pop, right? So this is really important for the makeup culture people. Anyway, 2 minutes, and so then what happened, long story short, chat helped create what the science project was. So all I had to do was just kind of figure out how to get the materials, and we kind of purchased everything. And that was very important because it sustained our relationship. Hurry it up. Why do you think that? Because that does happen when you're trying to manage a whole family. And she ended up winning 3rd place out of 280 students.
All right.
I was completely baffled. I'm like, what? That project wasn't that good. Yeah, some of these kids have robotics.
Oh,
You can also teach students to deconstruct the prompt, have ChatGPT explain the prompt to them deeper,
Yes.
when they're confused on getting started.
I'm gonna put up the evaluation.
Then you say, and put in the prompt and say, explain it to me in other words, or help me understand this in a way that is in 8th grade level. My daughter did it with.
It's so amazing. Here's the, for the e-booklet, if you like a copy of the e-booklet, it's titled Thrive with Learning Solutions for Adults with Disabilities. And if you could just take down this URL or QR code it and just fill out that quick Google form, I'll send it to you tomorrow. And then here's the evaluation for the workshop. Oh, is it? Yeah. If you could QR code that evaluation for accolades, further questions, wanderings. If you're like upset at the workshop, just talk to me on the side, please. You gotta put it out there. They're like, you're wasting my hour.
Lydia said, LOL, that's hilarious.
Oh. And there's a URL and QR code for the e-booklet. And in that booklet, it does talk about BART, how to access the website, why to use it. So I do background discussing why we use that strategy, why is it high impact, and then I put in a couple of different activities you can do in class, and they're all no-cost strategies.
Where's the link for?
This QR code?
No, not for the evaluation.
Oh, sorry. What is the question asking?
Oh, just, that's all.
Or was there another question in the chat?
No, it was a big thank you to
Oh, you're
you
welcome. Thank you for coming.
from Tatiana. Relevant and excellent presentation.
Thank you, Tatiana. Oh, can we move, oh, is that mine? May you move your box a little bit?
Yeah.
Click on the title of this presentation that's. Yeah.
The bottom one is for yours, right?
I don't know, which one is it for?
Um,
I think you go to all presentations and then click on Dispel technology.
the bottom one is for the whole.
Yeah, and what this young lady in the back was saying, how chat could deconstruct while you completed that evaluation. There was a concept in math that, my son needed to learn that I think I could have finally figured it out, but don't ask me nothing at 10 o'clock at night, because I'm trying to watch Law and Order. So I'm like, so I'm like, okay, well, put in there, chat, I have a test, and I need to know what questions should I ask when I approach this problem on a test? So that's a metacognitive skill and how you could also use chat in your classes. Like, give me the thinking behind the thought. So when a student comes to the class the next day, they have like a structure they can follow when they have a problem that they have to solve in your math class. That's just another idea.
Or what questions might be asked at a job interview for
Yes.
this particular job.
Yes. For job interviews, I even had students put in, this is my response to the chat. I need you to train me on job interviewing. Ask me 5 questions. And after I give you my feedback, then I need you to provide me coaching on my response to the question. And then chat says, okay, here's the first question. Boop, 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 boop. Then you type it in, okay, I'm gonna give you feedback on your response. And then chat tells you. And then chat says, would you like the next question? So you can even engage that way. Sometimes you're just in a crunch. So that's another benefit.